Hello everybody. In today's video, we are talking about the basics of luminosity masking. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of how to create a luminosity mask and do just a little bit of explaining about them. I love luminosity masks and I use them in every single photo, but this is a little bit more of an advanced tutorial. So if you're new to Photoshop and you've never used any kind of masking at all, this tutorial is probably not going to make a lot of sense to you. But this tutorial is great for those of you who have done a little bit of basic masking with maybe a brush or a gradient in Photoshop, and you're ready to kind of tackle luminosity masks and how they work. A lot of people in the photography world will tell you that they're very complicated, but they're actually not. Luminosity masks are incredibly simple, and I'm really excited to be showing you guys a few things about them today. Now, I'm using the TK Basic V6 panel, which is the Tony Kuiper panel. And there is a premium version available, but the thing that I really like about this basic V6 is that it's free. I'll be including a link to it down below, so you can download it for free. You can follow along with this video and try out luminosity masks on your own image, and it's not going to cost you anything. So before you go ahead and purchase the premium panel, you can decide if you're actually going to use these luminosity masks or not. But I really think that you will. I use them all the time on every single photo I edit, and I cannot recommend them enough. And that is one of the main reasons why I love editing my photos in Photoshop, is for the ability to use these luminosity masks. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in there. We'll be jumping into Photoshop. Here we go, guys. So this is a great image to demonstrate luminosity masks on because there's such a high dynamic range. You can see we've got these really darks up in here and these really lights up in here, as well as some lights coming down through here with these sunbeams. This is a perfect image to demonstrate on. And now, like I said before, I'm using the TK Basic V6 panel, which I've got right here. When you download it, you'll have to learn how to install it, and then I like to put it right here on this sidebar. I've also seen a lot of people that like to have it up here. So wherever you have it, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to show you a little basic how to use it. Of course, if you're using a different panel, that's totally fine. There's tons on the market and they all pretty much operate the same. The interface might be a little bit different, but they're all going to operate the same. So how you go about using luminosity mask is you're going to first hit composite. This may be a different word on other panels, but there's always going to usually be like a step one of something you have to press to prime the image. Now we can go down and select either darks, lights, or midtones. Generally, I don't ever select midtones, but I will select darks or lights. For example, in this image, let's select darks. Let's go with a darks 3. Now remember that what you're seeing here is a layer mask on the image. So black conceals and white reveals. So if we wanted to make a good selection of the darks, this might be a pretty good mask, but I might go even further and go with the darks 4. So now we're not selecting any of the sky. And you can keep clicking around to find which selection is going to be right for you. And just always remember that black conceals, white reveals. So before you even come in here to make a luminosity mask, you need to think about exactly what you want to do. So I'm going to go with a darks 4. Now I'm going to come down here and hit layer. And I'm going to select a curves. Now, if what you wanted to apply this to was not here, you could simply just click selection, and then it would select the pixels that were just in that mask that you just saw. Then you could come down to your adjustment layer, or you could even put it on a current layer that you already have, and you could go ahead and hit curves. It will automatically apply. You can see if I hold Alt Option and I click, that you can see that right there. So now let's just go ahead and bring up the curve. You can see now that we are bringing up the brightness of the shadows, and the shadows only. We're not touching the sky at all. So let's go ahead and do the same thing again, but this time let's make a selection of the sky. So we're going to hit composite, and we're going to let that load out. Then we're going to hit lights, and probably a lights 2 would be good. Let's go ahead and hit layer. Let's hit curves. And let's see what this does. And you can see it's not looking too bad. We don't need to make a whole huge edit here. But the other thing that you can do, now keep in mind, I'm just adjusting the brightness, but the possibilities are literally endless. You can add a luminosity mask to literally any layer that you want in Photoshop. So there's a variety of other things that I could do. For example, I might go ahead and grab another luminosity mask here. Maybe I want to kick in some more blues into the sky, but I don't want to kick it into the rest of the scene. So let's go with a lights 2 again. Let's go with layer and hue saturation. And let's go ahead and go down to blues. And you can see it's not doing a whole lot. We can also go up to master and increase the saturation. So you can see I've just applied this to the sky in the image, which is exactly what I wanted to do. Might even turn that down. This image doesn't have a lot of saturation to begin with, but you can see that the possibilities are literally endless on how to use this. Some other things that I'll use luminosity masks on include the Orton effect, dodging and burning, when I'm blending in a sky, maybe in a HDR blend, when I'm doing a focus stack. There's a variety of different things that may allow me to use luminosity masks. And like I said, you can see how the possibilities are just endless. Like I said, you always are going to hit composite first, and then you're going to go through and decide whether you want to select lights, darks, or midtones. The thing that I really like about this TK Basic V6 is I can just quickly scroll between all of the options here and select exactly what I want to select. And this is also a really great tool. A lot of times, one little tip that I have for you is to add in a little bit of contrast to just the shadows. So let's see what happens when I do a curves layer of just these shadows. And I come in here and I create an S curve. Let's toggle that. So you can see I've darkened some spots of the shadows and lightened others. So I've essentially just created contrast. Now, the thing that you need to be really careful of when you're using these luminosity masks is for color banding. And you will see this color banding if I crank this a little bit more. Let's actually zoom back out again. So you can see that because this luminosity mask, I have selected certain spots more than others. Certain spots will be getting more treatment than others, and it can expose you to some color banding. You can see how much darker this spot got than all of the spots around it. So that's just something to look out for. So keep that in mind whenever you are using this luminosity mask technique, but really just go crazy with luminosity masks. You can try so many different things. There's no reason not to try luminosity masks in Photoshop because the possibilities literally are endless. Whatever layers you can use in Photoshop, you can use a luminosity mask on it. So super cool. I love luminosity masks. I use them in every photo I edit, and I think that you need to use them as well. I wanted to thank you guys so much for checking out this week's video. As always, your support means a lot to me. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down below in the comments. And of course, please make sure to like and subscribe to help support me to make these videos in the future. I'm having a lot of fun doing this, and I really appreciate you guys checking it out. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys next weekend. Have a good one. Bye-bye.